Hey, there she is.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Tanya Love Show. I'm so happy that you're joining us today live. Just a reminder for those that are joining us, the first caller that calls in today, I will do a live reading for. So if you want to do have an angel reading, or I also have my divine guidance cards today, call in to 919-518-9773. Or you can dial in through Skype to Computer's 2K Voice. So a little nudge, if you want to not be so shy today and talk to Tanya, you could get an angel reading, and I'd love to chat with you. Basically today, I'm going to focus on the subject for today, or the topic for today is going to be on protection and purification. And this has come to me from many angels, as well as these beings called the Arcturians, which are new for me. And I was just having a meeting last night. It was actually a workshop called The Empowering of the Empath that I'm leading. It's a 6-month mentorship. And I had like 4 different confirmations come through that I was indeed connecting to these beings from Arcturus, which is totally new for me. And I hope none of you are going to just stop watching me now because you think I'm crazy. But basically, angels are not from this planet. They're from another realm and another dimensional space as well. And so I'm just kind of open to the fact that, okay, there's some other beings that are chiming in. And one of the books that, it was interesting because I was feeling these energies coming through in meditation, these beings guiding me for, teaching about protection and purification. And there was several messages that were coming through. And then I had a yoga class the other night, and I was guided to do some activations. They were called the subtle body fortification attunements. And I was doing these activations to help the students in yoga with their subtle body. And that may not make a lot of sense to you. You might want to research a little bit more about the subtle body. But when we're talking about clearing the auric field, that's when we're in that space, not just the physical body, but we're working in the energy of the soul. And so that night, I just had an intuition to ask one of the guys who came, who doesn't typically come to my class. I was just looked at him and I said, "Do you know who the Arcturians are?" And he just looks at me and smiles and he's like, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay," because I got the intuition to ask you. And he's like, "Tanya, remember a long time ago I let you borrow a book, and it was called Blessings of the Stars," which I found it, and it looks like this. And he reminded me that he had let me borrow this book a long time ago, which I will return to him soon because I totally misplaced it and didn't realize I still had it. And in the book, there is this page that's about Arcturus. And, well, it's actually a chapter about Arcturus. And it's a star system that's 36 light years from our planet. And apparently these beings have been really helping our planet since the beginning of time, but helping us with bringing in the Christ consciousness, or what I like to call the unity consciousness, and helping us in particular activating the Earth's heart chakra and activating and aligning our heart chakra with the Earth, which was really interesting because I was teaching that in yoga, and this is where I'm realizing I'm actually channeling them and tuning into them, but I didn't exactly know who it was. I've just been learning more and more of who's chiming in and helping us. And basically, when I got sick last week, I had a lot of pressure on my chest and this cough that was really persistent. And I'm not typically sick very often, so I was just like, what is going on, angels? And I was laying in bed and I was just asking them for a healing. And I was just like kind of frustrated because I was coughing so much. And I was just like, I need help. I need you guys to clear this out right now. Like, what is this?
Oh, yeah.
And this is the night I had a dream of these Arcturians coming through and telling me they were helping me. Well, the next morning I woke up feeling a ton better. Like, I'm still a little bit not 100%, but I'm like 99% better. And the next morning after asking that, I felt so much better. And there was all this confirmation coming through about Arcturians, where I don't know if all of you remember, but some that have been watching me for a while, I did an interview a while back with a woman named Holly Marwood. And Holly is married to a man named Paul Marwood. And Paul sent me an email, and I don't say random anymore. It was very synchronistic. he sent me an email after I had been asking for confirmation, and his email was a channeling he had just done with the Arcturians. I kid you not. And so I've had all kinds of confirmation coming through. And so I'm just open to it. And I feel like their energy and their vibration is very much like the angels. It's kind of like when I was talking to Holly and she's talking about channeling the High Council of Orion. And I was like, it sounds like they say the exact same things as the angels say to me. And I was like, oh, are they from the same place? Like, it's interesting because they're so similar messages. And I feel the same with the Arcturians. And really, I feel like there's different star systems that are of a similar consciousness that are just very highly evolved, and they're helping our Earth, they're helping our planet, and helping humanity in particular in awakening and shifting and clearing so much of the heavy energy so that we can go into this higher vibration. So a lot of us that have been feeling sick or different things that, we come from a fearful place and we want to label it. Often these can be ascension symptoms that we're going through, or for myself being an empath, sometimes spirit will touch me with something. Like I've talked about that in shows before. Right before I meet with a client for an auric clearing, I will go into a meditation and I will tune into that client before they even come to my house. And I'll just ask to be shown their Akashic records. It's kind of like I have a little meeting with their guides before they ever show up. And often, if there's something going on physically in their body, I will feel it in my body. And I've learned as an empath to let it touch me. And I set this intention that the energy can touch me, and then I send it back. And so with this cough and all this stuff that was going on in my chest, I was just frustrated because I had totally forgot that I could be possibly doing this, like picking up on something. And so when I was asking them for help, the message that came through is, remember the empath you are. What is it that you're feeling? What is it that you know about this? And so I just was tuning in, like, what do I know about? And I was like, well, wait a minute. Maybe there's an energy touching me. And if that's the case, then I don't need it to be here any longer. I get the picture and I'm sending it back. And that's when I felt so much better the next morning. So last night we had a workshop called the Empowering the Empath. And ultimately, an empath is a living being that is very much aware of the energy and the vibration of things, more so than what we are shown, what we see, what we hear. We feel everything. And so many humans on this planet that are empaths, I like to call them learning empaths, the ones that have not really awakened yet, they don't realize their gifts in a way of empowerment. In most cases, they feel kind of cursed. They feel like, what the hell? I can't go into a shopping mall, or I can't go to a hockey game because all those energies, all the people, it's overwhelming to me. And sometimes empaths just stay away from big crowds because of the energy. It's just too much for them. They often are children that they feel alone a lot. They feel kind of isolated, and they feel sick to their stomach a lot because they're picking up on energy and they can't really understand it with their logical mind, but they feel things in their body. And a lot of times these beings are kind of living their experiences in ways that create disruption as far as having medical problems. They may have like stomach disorders and different things going on in their their energetic makeup of their body. It can really throw them off. So as we learn to come into our power as an empath, and we learn to be in our power and be grounded and to walk on this planet with more of a protection, I'd say protective shield, but I don't really want to give the impression that you have to put on armor, but it's more like a vibrational energy that you're emanating from yourself. And it's the best way I can give the visual for people to understand is imagining that when they're in an energy, like in a big, shopping mall, and there's all these energies they can feel and it's bombarding them, they can imagine that they have this bubble of light around them that's protective, like this bubble, like eggshell around them. And it lets all the love in, all the good stuff can come in, but anything disruptive or low vibration gets kind of deflected off of that shield that they have around them. So that's one thing that you could visualize when you start your day. Just set the intention to call that protective shield in. Another way that you can do it is being very sensory aware. I like to feel it, not just see it. So I'll imagine the feeling of that energetic shield, what it feels like to have that vibrational energy expansion. So I'll tell clients a lot of times, imagine like when you're fearful and you feel vulnerable, it's kind of like you pull your energy in and you feel vulnerable. So you're making your auric field very small, which is really inviting an attack. It's inviting psychic attack or lower vibrational beings that would want to disrupt your energy. You're just kind of inviting them in. So if you handle that in the exact opposite way, instead of going small and protecting yourself, if you imagine your expansion and you imagine your vibration reaching out into that room like the sun, like visualize and feel what that feels like. And you can practice this with, I don't know if any of you know what dowsing wands are, but if you can either make them yourself or you could buy some dowsing wands. I've made them before out of coat hangers. You just take a straight metal coat hanger, bend the end, put like a straw over the end so that you're holding the plastic, and you can just hold them, one in each hand, and as the wires are pointing ahead, as you think of something very heavy and like sad, low vibration, the wands will pull inward and they'll come close to each other. And as you think of something very high vibration and you feel that feeling of expansion, think of someone you love and something that makes you so happy, those wands will open up. And I've demonstrated this in front of people many times, and it's pretty amazing. But it's just a simple little trick you can play with to show energy. So if any of you want to experiment with that, go for it. It'll be a fun little science experiment. But basically, the intention of my telling you this is that some of you, if you're feeling bombarded by the energy out there, you need to be more mindful of setting your intention each day. When you wake up, I set an intention where I step on the floor and I just say to the universe, I'm grounded. I imagine my crown opening to spirit for any guidance or, healing, whatever is flowing through me. And I say I'm connected. And then I imagine that bubble or that shell around me, and I affirm that I am protected. I'm divinely protected. And this is a good habit in the beginning for some of you that, maybe just aren't feeling that grounded. You're not feeling protected. You're not feeling like you're connecting with spirit because you're not setting an intention. So you're just jumping out of bed, hitting the alarm, racing into traffic. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough hamster wheel. And we do that, a lot of us, without meaning to, just because we jump into the robotic mode. So for us to really live in a higher vibrational experience, the first thing is to check those habits that you may get into where you go into robotic mode and where you go into fear and lack and where you don't really protect yourself. So I would encourage you to each do that. Start your day with more of an intention, calling in your protection, grounding your energy, and remembering that you're light, remembering that you're high vibration, and that you can emanate that frequency. You choose that. No one else chooses what you put out except you. So on that note, if we are focusing on something that we're angry about or we're fearful about or we're nervous about, then we're in our intellectual mind dwelling about these things. Really what we're doing is we're still participating in third dimensional experience and we're in a heavier vibration. This is going to make us feel uncomfortable because as we're feeling that encouragement and that push to expand into a fifth dimensional experience where we're in a higher vibration, we can't do both. So if you want to be in fifth dimensional experience and you're in a high vibration where you're in love, you're in hope, you're in joy, you're in gratitude, that feels amazing. It feels lifted. It feels expanded. And if somebody upsets you or somebody disappoints you, it's important that we stay connected to heart. We express how we feel. We express our truth, but we stay aligned in our higher vibration. And I say that because what Archangel Ariel brought to me in a dream recently was she was telling me how one of the ways the lower vibrational energies trick and hook our egos and trick us and pull our energy down is the energy will come in and sense a high vibrational being, like